Hey, once again, this is Casey Color for History 512 for Liberty University, the American Revolution. Who I'm going to be talking about today is Nancy Ward of the Cherokee tribe. And I have a couple visual aids to help with this. Alright, so let me get my notes back together here. So Nancy Ward was born in around 1738 in Monroe County, Tennessee, or what would be Monroe County, Tennessee. She died in either 1822 or 1824 in Benton, Tennessee. The photos you see in front of you are Nancy Ward. The one on the left is actually the statue or monument of her. They're still standing today. The one in the middle is a portrait, a painting of what someone thought she would look like, and on the right is an actual photo of her. During the Revolutionary War, as I said before, that she was a Cherokee, and the Cherokee were divided on the issue of helping the British or helping the American settlers. The issue was basically, do they want to help the settlers who are taking their land, or help the British who are attacking their homeland? But so there was a lot of divide in the Cherokee people. Miss Ward decided to support the colonists, and she did so several times in several different ways. One such instance was in July 1776. She had warned some settlers on the Holston River that was near the Virginia border that the Cherokees were planning an attack. Of course, that was the Cherokees that were supporting the British were going to attack some white settlers. Later, and she saved the life of a white woman that was about to be executed after that raid. Interesting enough, the woman's husband was a good friend of Daniel Boone, and we all have heard of Daniel Boone before. He was a captain in the militia. So clearly she went against the grain to what a lot of the local, or her family, did with supporting the British, and her supporting the colonies. Again in 1780, she also helped warn some American soldiers, some militia soldiers. The Cherokee were getting ready to attack them, and she tried to keep tensions eased between the Cherokee and the white people, and in this case she did also. She actually even had some of her own cattle used at the to help feed the militia. Unfortunately, in 3 minutes I don't have a lot of time to talk about her. So one other thing I will say is that in 1781 she helped negotiate. She was a key factor in negotiating peace between the Cherokees and the American people, and she helped make sure the treaty got signed. A couple things that I do want to mention about her is she was actually one of the first Cherokee people to purchase slaves. She owned slaves. She was a high member of the Society of the Sons of the American Revolution, and they helped fight for the sale of the Cherokee lands. But as she grew older, she settled in eastern Tennessee, near the Ocoa River, and she opened an inn, a motel, and she ran that with her son until she passed away. In 1923, she was posthumously awarded her own chapter based in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She has her own museum, the Nancy Ward Museum. The Polk County Historical and Genealogical Society have a room in their genealogy library dedicated to her, or in honor of her. She's also was the last woman to have the title of Beloved Woman of the Cherokee Nation until many years later. I think it was the 1980s when the Cherokee Nation named another beloved woman. So you can imagine how many people come between her dying in the early 1820s and the next one in 1980s. How many people it passed by? So it's a very important honor that the Cherokee people gave her. And there's also her memorial, which is near Benton, Tennessee. See She's named in many stories and in folklore. In fact, Theodore Roosevelt mentioned her in his story, The Winning of the West. She's also mentioned in the calendar of the Virginia State Papers and the South Carolina State Papers. She's in the History, Myths, and Sacred Formulas of the Cherokees book. And yeah, she's not only an important figure of the Cherokee people, but also to the American people because of her wanting to ensure the peace between Native American people, the Cherokee, and the white people. And she was an early woman's voice in America that sometimes I think aren't brought to the forefront as much as they should be. Thank you.